Welcome to the Mothering with Jesus podcast, where we are real and raw about the ups and downs of motherhood and where we rally together to become the mother that God intended us to be. This week, you're just hanging out with me. It's a solo cast, and we are going to chat about Satan and how not to let him steal your joy in your motherhood. This is supposed to be a time of so much joy, and let's dive in. As always, this week's podcast is brought to you by Oliveda. I sell this beautiful skincare that has helped my skin so much. I absolutely love it. And the link to shop is just in the description. It's clean and it just literally sinks right into your skin. I've had so many skincare items that just sit on top of your skin and you wake up in the morning and they're basically still sitting on your skin. But these actually soak right in and make a huge difference. And I absolutely love spending money on something that's actually working. So if you're like me and love to spend your money on things that are actually going to work for you, then visit the link in my description and you can always reach out if you have any questions of what you can be using, because they are a lot of products and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but a really simple routine I feel like is the best for skin. So let me know if you have questions. I also partner with SLYD, which is a nasal strip and a mouth strip company, which is super fantastic. My discount code is also in the description, and I absolutely love sleeping with mouth tape. As a busy mom, it really helps me get a better sleep, and I didn't even recognize how much or if I was breathing through my mouth because I don't snore, but when I use that at night, it works so good and I wake up feeling a lot more refreshed. Don't let Satan steal the joy of your motherhood. I am so excited to have this conversation. It's something that has been on my mind a lot, and it's definitely for me, like, this is one of the things that Satan works really hard on me for, or I don't know. I just have a tendency to go to this place that just like is grumpy and overwhelmed and not enjoying my day-to-day motherhood if I'm not watching myself. And so I hope that this can be a helpful conversation for some of you if you happen to be feeling the same way as well. I think we've all been on social media and seen these just like negative portrayals of motherhood and just kind of making fun of motherhood or making fun of children and making fun of just how hard it can be. And I'm definitely not trying to just like live in this la la land that like, oh, this is just amazingly beautiful and it's not hard, because it is. I started this entire podcast because I have found motherhood a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. I thought it would just be this gay time and it would just be so fun to just run my household, and it just sounded like the best. But when I became a mom, I quickly realized that it was going to challenge me and it was going to push me in new ways, and that I needed the strength of God and Jesus to be on my side and help me to know how to best raise my children. So when I see these reels online and, people just kind of talking down on motherhood, I get it. I get that it can be hard. I get that it's nice to kind of commiserate with each other on the hardness, but also I would love to see more people talking about how beautiful motherhood is. And I hope that I can be a small voice of that on my page, because wow, motherhood is a gift. I always say, like, this is a privilege to be taking care of these children. And I hope that we can come at our motherhood with that perspective and not allow Satan to steal our joy, because I know that God wants us to feel joy in this calling. Is long calling. We get to be a mom for years and years, of young kids, but then obviously after they leave, we're still a mother. Although it looks a lot different. I was reading a talk by Elder Holland a while ago, and he says, remember that there is a force in the universe determined to oppose every good thing you try to do. So here we are in our motherhood, this beautiful privilege, this beautiful gift that God has given us. And of course, Satan is right there. He's at our heels. He's at our back. He is trying to make this something that we begrudge and that we feel overwhelmed by. And that maybe we even choose to, what would be the best way to say it? Give away our motherhood, in the sense that we're allowing, a lot of childcare to happen, and we're not choosing to mother our children as often as we can. Obviously, saying that, like, we've got single moms, we have working moms, every family dynamic is going to look different. And I hope that each of us are being really prudent in the choices that we're making with our time, so that we are in the home, we are teaching what needs to be taught with whatever amount of time we have actually with our children. Whether you're like me and you homeschool and you get them 24/7, or you're a working mom and you're only home with them for a few hours in the morning or a few hours in the evening. Doesn't matter what it looks like. I still feel like we need to have this conversation, and we need to view motherhood as this gift that it is. I believe that all of us, before we came here, had a chat with God, a little powwow, laying down ideas of who we wanted to become. Like, we've all waited eons of time to come here. And I can't help but think that we were all really excited. I really, truly believe that we were excited to be moms. And as we've come down here, I think that we all as well have had like this idea of who we want to be as moms. And we've seen other moms that were just like, wow, like, she's got it pulled together, or like, she's so patient, she's so sweet with her kids. I love the way she talks with her kids. It's so amazing to see other examples and to think about like how you want to be as a mom and how you want to enjoy this time. So I want to lay out 3 ideas. It'll maybe turn into more as we keep going, but right now I've got 3 solid ideas. And the first being kind of what we've chatted about a little bit already, coming at motherhood with this idea of it being such a privilege and being a beautiful thing. If that is like the base of how we're entering each day, then it is so helpful, right? Just like anything. I've read multiple marriage books, and they always talk about how successful marriages view their marriage as something so special, and they view it as something that maybe not everybody has, and that they are so lucky to be in that marriage. And if you view your marriage this way, you are way more apt to stay with your partner, right? Rather than wondering, I wonder if there was somebody else that I would jive better with, or, like, you open up a whole can of worms if you're just thinking that you don't have the best of the best, right? So it's kind of the same in our motherhood. If we think like, I wish it could be different, I wish my kids weren't as close together, or I wish that I had more kids or less kids, or I don't know, whatever your circumstance may be. If we come at it from this space of so much gratitude that we have these children and that God sent them to us, exactly the ones that we needed, exactly the time that we needed them, it is going to help our state of mind so much. We hear over and over again how powerful our brain is. Just a simple mindset shift like that can make all the difference. So I want you to remember that this is a privilege. Your children were sent to you for a reason. No matter what challenges they have, no matter how hard it may be, you are the mom for them. No one else could do it better than you. I love that. And I really, truly believe it. I know that that's just something we kind of say, and maybe it just like feels nice, but I really believe that God sends us are people. They need us and we need them. So let's come at our motherhood believing that wholeheartedly. Okay, number 2 is being present. This is something we hear all the time, right? People are always saying like, oh, be present, be happy, be present. That's the way to happiness and joy. And as much as I don't want to believe it, the stubborn part of me is just annoyed at how frequently people talk about being present. But I think it's because there's something to it. Like, if you actually take a minute when you are feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling frustrated, when like a child is doing something that is just like making you just lose your mind. If you do take a moment to recognize what is going on around you and be present, kind of look at your child, look how tiny they're, just looking in their eyeballs, honestly, makes a major difference. You can handle the situation a way that you would be proud of later. You know, you look at them and you're just like, yes, this is my child who I have the privilege of caring for and who I love with all my heart. I'm going to handle this situation from this space of very present. Whereas on the flip side, if I am not present and I'm not seeing things from their perspective, I'm not actually like looking back, thinking of this is all the things that could be going through their mind right now, then I'm going to handle the situation completely differently. Here's a little example. By no means am I an expert at this. And honestly, I handle situations in ways that I don't love frequently. I do not want anyone to ever come to my space thinking that I am an expert on motherhood and mothering with Jesus, because it's the opposite, right? I'm finding this hard and I need Jesus, and that's why I'm doing all of this. And I need you women. I need a community of ladies that encourage each other to be better mothers and to fight for this. So I'm definitely not doing it right all the time, but here's a small example. The last like probably week or so, as this podcast idea has been on my mind, I've really been trying to allow joy in my motherhood. It just makes a world of a difference to tune in and be present. So just a minute ago, I'm obviously sitting here doing the podcast. I'm hoping that all of my girls will be quiet and they're all out there playing and doing who knows what. The little toddler who's 2 walks in the door and is making a lot of noise and fussing and saying, "Mommy, mommy." My gut reaction is all these thoughts of, oh, this is so annoying. I just need like 20, 30 minutes to do this podcast. Where's her older sister? Why is her older sister not watching her? You know, all these thoughts are just kind of flying through my head without me thinking really quickly. And then I look at her and she has like marker on her face and she's telling me something funny. And when I pause for a minute and look at her, I can see actually this is funny. This could be a time where I could just laugh rather than feeling uptight or feeling stressed about moving things forward and getting this podcast done. Then I'm allowing joy, right? I think so frequently about how I want to be remembered as a mom when my kids are older and how their childhood was. And I really, truly hope that they remember me being happy and me laughing and me enjoying this, because I do deep down in my heart, like that's 100% who I am. I love to be a mom, and I think it is an absolute riot. They are hilarious. They are so funny. They say the funniest things, especially when you're in the tiny younger phases. I have 4 little girls, 9 and below. They all just make me laugh. They say kooky things all the time. For example, I'm swimming in the pool the other day with all of them. And my little 4-year-old was doing something and I asked her not to. I don't even remember the specifics of what I was trying to have her do. And then I said to her, don't you have an obedient bone in your body? Because she is hilarious. She's like queen of the world and just says no all the time whenever I ask her to do something. No. And it can just really irk me. So I say to her, "Don't you have an obedient bone in your body?" And she, without even skipping a beat, says, "Yeah, my knee." Which on a little 4-year-old, like a kneecap would be like as big as a dime. The literal tiniest bone in her body is her obedient bone. So I really hope that we can take the time to be present, that we can laugh about all the funny things that these kooky little children say to us. It's so funny. Also, another like helpful mindset thing that I read one time in a parenting book talked about how if we view all of this like we're raising wild animals, then it also helps you understand why there is no like logic or reason, because their brains aren't fully developed yet. And so there literally is not very much logic happening. And so just thinking that we're raising wild animals can be helpful. Okay, point number 3 is simplify. Also, another thing that we hear a lot, but are we doing it? We live in a time where we can outsource so many things. I can have my groceries delivered for a very reasonable price every single week. I don't have to go to the grocery store. That cuts out at least an hour, maybe 2. I don't know. I haven't been grocery shopping in so long. I don't even know how long it takes. But if you're not aware and if you haven't done this yet, Walmart, Smith's, I think pretty much every grocery store has an option to do this. I personally do Smith's. They charge $100 for the entire year to get free delivery to your house. You just have to order groceries that are over $35, which is very easy to do if you have a family. Probably if you don't have a family, $35 gets you like a bag of peanuts. So it's so simple to get your groceries delivered. Or if you don't want to get them delivered, you can do the pickup order option. Everything we shop for can be delivered to our house, with Prime and Target Circle. It's wild to me. It's wild to me that I can look at my phone and order something and it can be at my doorstep later that day or the next day. It's crazy, this world we live in. So we don't have to sew our own clothes. We don't have to make our own garden or churn our own butter. If you're doing those things, hats off. I think it's absolutely beautiful. We really, just this day and age, I feel like we have a lot of extra time, but then we've just filled it up with other things. And I just hope that each of us are being prayerful and mindful about how we're spending our time and how we're spending our children's time. I truly believe in not overscheduling yourself or your children because they don't need a stressed out mom. Let's do all the things to not be stressed. And that's going to look completely different for people, right? Some people, maybe they go out to dinner every night because that makes them a happier mom. Maybe they hate cooking. Maybe someone outsources their cleaning and whatever it may be, right? We can literally outsource so many things. You have to figure out what works for you. Like I said, I hope that we're being prayerful and mindful about how we're choosing to run our homes, what we're outsourcing, what we're doing ourselves, what we're teaching our children to do, and just trying to make our load obviously not so light that we're like not doing anything, right? Like that's not realistic. We came here to work, but that we're keeping it light enough that we have room to have joy and to enjoy our children. And then to be able to enjoy your children have to be around. So don't overschedule your children. This is a little rant of mine, and maybe and probably a lot of people feel the exact opposite, but I just cannot get behind all of the things that our children are in and how people just put everybody in everything. And Susie's going to soccer and she's going to an art class and a music class. And then she also does dance and she has something every day of the week. And that just blows my mind. I grew up doing one sport at one time and that was it. And so it just blows my mind how much people are in. But also then I do always fight this because the other side of it is that if you have your child in dance and she's going to dance, 3 times a week, like she's going to become really good at dance. And there are some kids who are just absolutely passionate about what they're doing, and I love that. And I love how all the things it teaches them, discipline and teamwork if they're on a team sport and all the things. So I'm not trying to completely take away from all that. I see the value in it and I see why people are doing it, but also this is your motherhood. And if you are so maxed out driving people from A to B that like in the crossroads, you can't be happy with them, then there's a problem. So again, I think we just need to be prayerful and mindful about our scheduling our children. If they're so busy that they're hardly seeing each other and that they're hardly seeing you, that people can't have dinner together. It's all very individual, but I think that's something that we need to sit down and counsel together as a family and figure out if that's something we're actually okay with and if it's worth our time. Like I mentioned, homeschool our children. And I remember fall semester last year, I put the girls in quite a few things. They were in several classes during the week that my sweet friend teaches, and they were doing some extracurricular things, and they just had a lot. All good things, really fun things. But all of us, our whole family, including my husband, who was also helping to drive them places, all of us that semester really felt like, whoa, this is not working for us. He just all felt a little bit stressed. The girls had a hard time getting up and getting out the door on the days that they needed to, or, they were gone too long and would come home feeling grumpy. And the next semester, so January of this year, we did nothing. Okay, just kidding. We're not doing anything. And it was funny. Like I said, I kind of fight it. I want them to be in things. I want them to experience things. And so I just kept giving them options of, oh, well, we could do this and this or this. And my girls just kept saying, no, we don't want to be in any classes. We don't want to do anything. I think we ended up doing piano for my oldest, but they really wanted to keep it so simple that whole semester. And and it was just so funny to see firsthand what our family looked like when we were overscheduled. My husband said several times, because he ended up being in the school traffic to go and pick up the girls. And and he'd be like, isn't this why we homeschool? So that we don't have to deal with like pickups and drop offs. It's definitely part of one of the perks to homeschooling. And anyway, doesn't matter if you homeschool or not, whatever, or if you're in a lot of things or not. I just really hope that we are recognizing what is good for our family and what we want long term. And we're not simply just putting our kids in all of the things because everybody's putting their kids in all of the things, or our kids beg us to be in all the things because they're like, oh, this friend's in this and this friend's in this and this friend's in this. And I want to be in all the things with all the different friends. And then you never see your child. Take a look at your schedule, have a prayer and a powwow with God, and make sure that the places that your children are the places that they need to be, and that it's not too much. I heard one time too, someone mention that although this is your child's childhood, this is also your motherhood. I think it's worth taking time to sit down and decide what you want your motherhood to look like when you are 50 and 60 and have grandchildren. What are you going to wish you had done? What are you hoping that your child or that your motherhood looked like, because you're not going to be able to go back when you're 50 and 60 and say you've just overscheduled yourself, overscheduled your child, you're feeling overwhelmed and tapped out, and you're not allowing the joy of what this season could be into your life. That would be so sad to look back and wish that you had done things drastically different. If you look on Instagram and you're seeing families who are maybe gathering for dinner or gathering for lessons, spending time outside together, boating, hiking, families who are traveling together, families who do a sport together, like skiing, or maybe families who are so musical. Have you guys seen when a family gathers around and someone plays the piano and they all sing? So beautiful. I love music, but that is not me. I don't play or sing. But, if we look around and we see like these family cultures that are so beautiful, I hope that we're taking the time to figure out what ours is and lean into things that we love and sharing that love with our children, reading books or painting or just learning in a myriad of ways. I just think it's so important to enjoy your motherhood. And if that means going against the societal norms and not spending your whole day in the car driving children around and scrolling Instagram between drop offs, then take a good hard look and do it. Whatever it is, even if it feels weird and people judge you for it, do it. Whatever is going to actually bring the connection and the joy that all of us crave and need in our families and in our motherhood is going to be worth it. It's going to be worth pushing against the grain and doing things a little bit differently and saying no to activities, saying no to your child when they want to do more and more and more and more. I even think about traditions and how we have to be mindful and careful as we're adding different traditions into our holidays or our birthdays. I feel like everything these days is just bigger, 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 bigger. I remember several years back, it is so fun to have Christmas and to give your kids the things and just have so much fun with it. And I remember after several years of buying gifts, I've been a mom for 9 years, probably like 5 years into it, and then 4 kids, 3 probably at the time. I was thinking, wait a minute, this is not going to be sustainable when all of these children are teenagers. And if we have more, like, this is just not going to be sustainable to make every birthday this big and make every Christmas this big. And not even from a financial standpoint, like that as well, but also just like my energy to do the things. Like, I just realized that this wasn't what I would want to be doing. Like there's the shopping and all the wrapping and just making it bigger and more complicated than it needed to be. So simplify your traditions if you need to as well. I love to start shopping, 2 to 3 months before Christmas and get it wrapped up and done and just be present and enjoy the holidays without trying to make everything so big. General conference is coming up in a few days, and one of the traditions that I love to do at General Conference is taking these little brown bags that I just grabbed from the dollar store. You can go to my Instagram. I'll be posting a reel about this. You can get a visual if you'd like, but I get these little bags and then I just put things inside of them. On the bags, they have a picture of the apostles. And then when that apostle speaks, the child recognizes that he's up there on the TV and they get to run and grab his bag. And then they open up and do whatever activity or eat whatever thing. The first couple of I've probably been doing this for like 3 years now. And the first couple of general conferences, I was, buying new things. And then I was just realizing how quickly every 6 months was coming up, and that this was like a pretty big to do, was preparing these bags. And so I just realized, like, wait, I can make this simpler. It doesn't need to be like this. Kids are simple. They are going to be happy with whatever I do. And so now I literally just stick in things that we already have. I've done like apples and peanut butter in a bag, and they just eat apples and peanut butter while that person speaks. I usually throw in candy, a bunch of coloring things. I print off just like free coloring pages, just keep it so simple. And it's so fun. They love it. They don't need expensive, elaborate traditions. Kids are so simple. I grew up in a very, very simple home, and I never thought anything of it. Christmas was always beautiful, and our birthdays were so simple. My mom would make the cake, and she would make our dinner, and we got to choose what we wanted for dinner. We never had birthday parties. Some of you are probably like, this is a sad childhood, but it really wasn't. It was just simple. And my mom, who had 8 children, was doing what she needed to do to preserve her mental health and to enjoy her motherhood. I'm sure these birthdays were just simple. We just went to school. There was nothing special, like our classmates would say, happy birthday. And we'd come home and enjoy a special dinner with a family and get sung to and get a gift or two. And it was just really simple and beautiful. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing things big and elaborate if that's what you can handle and if that's what your heart truly desires. I just want to make sure that as mothers, we are choosing to be true to ourselves, and not just trying to do what we see on Instagram and what we see people doing. We have this social media, this strange peek into people's lives, and most of the time it's probably not real. And also, in order for something to get a view, it needs to be big and it needs to be elaborate, right? That's something that's going to catch eyes and catch attention. And so I do think that we have blown up kind of this idea of what life should be, traveling all the time, or having just these beautiful dinner parties, whatever it is. And I'm not saying there is anything wrong with any of those things. I just hope that we're being mindful, we're being prayerful, and we're doing the things that matter most, and that we're not squandering our energies away trying to do all of these extra fluffy things, and not taking the time to just love our children and feel joy in their simple joys. So these are just a few of the ways that I have felt like Satan has stolen my joy in motherhood. And I'd love to hear yours. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can always text the podcast. Please leave a review if you have felt like the podcast has helped you in any way. It means a lot to know that it is encouraging or uplifting any of you, as I hope it is. And I hope the Holy Ghost taught you something in all of this. I hope that you felt some little nudges and pushes to make some changes so that you can just be happier. I just want mothers to just enjoy their children so much. And I hope you take the time to think about how you can do that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. We are close to 4,000 downloads on the podcast. And I'm grateful that you're here, and I'd love to hear from you. Bye.